Britain's media regulator Ofcom has launched an investigation into Elon Musk's X to determine whether it has complied with the duties to protect people in the UK from content that could be illegal.
Well, Technology Secretary Liz Kendall will address MPs later this afternoon in the House of Commons after concerns surrounding the Twitter's use of artificial intelligence. This means we could see a ban on Twitter, now known as X, in Britain. Ministers are saying that option is very much on the table. Now, we've been asking the public if they'd support a ban.
No, definitely not. I think Keir Starmer's overstretching himself. He should get on with getting the country back together and cost of living crisis and stop worrying about social media.
I think it's like we need to look at how social media is being used and being accessed by young people, how it's being accessed by businesses, how it's being used, like what images are being circulated on the internet.
If it's young children, well, I say young children, like teenagers, early year teenagers, just starting 13-year-olds upwards, I think it's bad for them to be seeing things like that.
I think banning it is an extreme measure. I personally would have no issue if it were banned.
Well, GBNews' political editor Christopher Hope joins us now. Christopher, what more can you tell us?
Well, I think that summarises the view on this one from the great British public, and yours maybe too, Nana. The concern is Grok, an AI part of Twitter or X. That's being used to find pictures of children and make them sexualised. That is completely abhorrent, vile, unlawful, and damages life, Number 10 says. But the response from Ofcom goes towards banning X altogether from all of our mobile phones like this one. Banning X or Twitter exists as what we're told is a backstop power, Number 10 say, if Ofcom choose to do so over the courts. That pits Ofcom against Elon Musk. That's a massive deal there. But Number 10 say, if that's deemed necessary, that has their full support. They say it's not at odds with the government's commitment to freedom of speech. On that, they say they're crystal clear. They're proud of it. We have had it for a very long time, and we're committed to freedom of speech and upholding that right. And just while I've been talking to you, a new line on this has come out from Liberal Democrats. They're now saying that this ban that access should start from now. That they should be not being allowed to monetise what they say is sexual abuse. They say there should be some form of intervention by the government now, some kind of business interruption policy, a temporary business disruption order. Every day a delay risks more victims, Lib Dems say. So right now, the left of politics is ganging up against X and Twitter. A big moment here for freedom of speech.
Am I living in a parallel universe? Have I stepped through the looking glass when the Liberal Democrats, they're literally called the Liberal Democrats, are supporting shutting down a forum for speech in this country? Yes, one that some bad actors have said bad things on, but that's no reason to take down the notice board because one person put something bad. Go after the users who do the bad things. Why have we got to a position in about 5 seconds? It was only 2 days ago that the technology minister Chris Bryant was saying no one's talking about banning Twitter. And now suddenly everyone's talking about banning Twitter. Do we live in Iran? No. Do we live in Russia? Do we live in China? What on earth is going on, Chopper?
It does sound...
Poor Christopher, you can't answer that.
Well, it does sound illiberal, Tom, for Liberal Democrats to try and ban this. They have been championing in the past freedom of speech, but it appears they're concerned about elements of this platform. I think Nana's right. Why on earth ban all of Twitter if you're concerned about the application of an AI program and how that damages, and it does damage. Of course, there's children there whose images should not be used, but frankly, banning all of Twitter is a step too far for many.
All right. Thank you very much, Christopher Hope.
Using the internet without a VPN, a virtual private network, is a bit like taking to the road without car insurance. All it takes is one unlucky moment to cost you a lot of cash. This video's sponsor is Private Internet Access. They are the VPN to help keep you safe. Click the link in the description below to find out why over 30 million people have downloaded PIA to protect themselves online. A virtual private network is an app that hides your IP address and helps keep your data private. When you're browsing the internet at home, you give up a large amount of data to businesses, to shops, and indeed to social media giants too. Hackers have the ability to steal your personal data with ease, including sensitive information such as passwords, keystrokes, and even your personal photos. Private internet access helps protect your personal data by encrypting your internet connection to keep your data out of the hands of cyber criminals. And it's not just hackers either to be concerned about. Information can be censored too. When Canada passed their C18 bill, social media giants decided to ban news content on their platforms. But PIA can protect your ability to consume the news and content you love. Private internet access is available for Windows users, Mac OS, Android, Linux, iOS, and you can use one PIA subscription to protect an unlimited amount of devices. And we've got a huge GBNews discount for you too. Click the link in this video's description and you'll get a massive 83% off PIA. That's under £2 a month, the price of a coffee, and you'll get an extra 4 months completely free on top. Also, there's a 30-day money-back guarantee too. Visit piavpn.com/GBnews to start protecting yourself digitally today.
How can the government sit there with a straight face and say, as Keir Starmer so often does, we've supported free speech in this country for a long time, we've backed free speech, and then seriously contemplates banning, removing from the internet, pretending to be some tin pot Vladimir Putin or Xi Jinping, removing Brits' access to one of the most popular websites in the world. I mean, really, what on earth is going on?
Well, you know what it is, don't you? Keir Starmer is not Elon Musk's best fan, and he doesn't really like the fact, I think a lot of them there, especially on the left, don't particularly like the reach that X has and the voice that it has. So this would be a way of, if they could ban it by using something that is, I think the AI tool is abhorrent, you shouldn't be able to do that. They're going to use that as the thing that they're going to justify banning it. Hey, look, why don't they do what other countries have done, which is ban the Grok app rather than banning entire X? I don't understand how you go from that to that. I think it's way massive overreach.
Have any countries banned the Grok app?
I think they have. I think Canada. I think there was. I don't know. I think they've banned Grok. I think they have.
Okay.
I'm going to go and have a look. Find out.
We'll have a look. But I think that there is a significant thing here, which is that when you're a platform, and I thought that this was an understood sort of arrangement ever since the advent of the internet, that a platform that has user-generated content, whether that's Twitter or Facebook or Reddit or any sort of forum, the platform cannot be responsible if a user chooses to do something illegal. That should be on the user.
And Indonesia.
Right, OK.
They banned it. That's just some of them. Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. So they have banned.
Yeah,
but they haven't banned X.
But here's the crucial point. We used to have an understanding across the Western world that a platform is not responsible for the content that the users put on it. Because if it were, you wouldn't be able to have any social media at all. How could you vet every single post, whether it's copyrighted material or whatever? Now, they should do their best to take down that sort of stuff. But my goodness me, if we're going to put the platform as liable for malicious users using AI to do malicious things, if suddenly that's the platform's fault, that undoes the entire understanding of what the internet is.
Well, I think the platform does have a level of responsibility, though, a level of care to its other users. So I think that, I would do what Malaysia, Indonesia have done, and if he doesn't change the Grok thing, then I would ban that. But I would not ban X. I think that's an overreach, and that's where I would leave it. But what do you think? gbnews.com/your say, or scan the QR code. Right, we're now joined by the Executive Director of the Age Verification Providers Association, Ian Corby. Now, Ian, most people would agree that sexualising images of other people, children, without their allowance and also possibly their knowledge, and showing them in undress and putting that out in a public forum is totally unacceptable. But why throw the baby out with the bathwater? Why would you ban the entire thing rather than just that specific element of it?
Well, that would be actually the nuclear option. And the Online Safety Act is designed to have a number of steps that Ofcom needs to go through before it would ever get to that. There was some mention there of business disruption mechanisms. And so that's one of the options in the bill, which allows Ofcom to go to court and to ask, for example, Visa and MasterCard to stop accepting payments on behalf of a particular platform. But let's just start with what's legal and what's illegal at the moment. So first of all, the images do have to be intimate images, so they can't just be pictures of the Prime Minister in a bikini. That wouldn't count, actually, unless you've got a slightly odd view of what counts as intimate. But as soon as they become sexualised, then at the moment the distribution of those by a platform is what's illegal. Later this year, creating those will become illegal and a criminal offence for the person who creates them. But that's not quite the stage we're at yet, because that's not been implemented.
That seems like a fairly subjective definition. So people have been replying to some of my tweets this week, putting me in mankinis. I think it's all good fun. I think it's fine. Knock your socks off, whatever. But why is there a difference between doing that to me and doing that perhaps to someone who doesn't like? How do you tell that subjective difference if someone's absolutely fine with people playing around with images and some person who would be deeply, deeply offended by that?
You're not a child.
Well, no, let's just keep it in the favour of adults for now.
I mean, first of all, these are not new definitions. They're taken from the 2003 Sexual Offensive Act and were designed for more sort of the real world kind of things. And remember, what we're doing with online safety generally is trying to make what's illegal in the real world equally illegal in the online world. So it is, at the end of the day, a decision for courts to make as to whether something crosses that line. But what I would say is, first of all, Ofcom will investigate this. It will be very slow, however, and I suspect the government will be extremely impatient and unhappy that Ofcom will take its time to do a proper job here. But what they then have to do is they may issue a fine that may well be ignored. But if they want to then take some more direct action, then they can go after payment providers, advertisers, hosting services. This was all really designed when we were worried about pornographic sites based overseas who would otherwise just completely ignore the British government. And I think it comes down to digital sovereignty and to whether we think what the British people vote through through their parliament as to be illegal or legal in this country is something that we ought to be able to enforce or not.
All right, Ian Corby, thank you very much. He's the Executive Director of the AIDS Verification Providers Association.